ones. Get them warmed up. Facebook, peace, family. We're warming up. I got the Kings in the building today. I'm blessed. I am blessed. And YouTube, we're live.
Are you live on Instagram?
I'm about to be.
Okay. Do we know how to link the accounts? I've never learned how to link his accounts.
Oh, I like it like this. The multiplier's mindset.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So we go live separately for each page.
Here, Queen. Tag me in. Let's go. Yeah, the multiplier's mindset. I like that. I like that. We live on the gram. We're live on Facebook, YouTube. Peace, family. We're going to get started in just 1 second, and I'll give the official intros, but the soft intros to those in our studio audience today and those on the lives. We are blessed to be amongst righteous men. And by righteous, the ways, I think I best accepted righteousness. I think Brother Farrakhan gave me this game. And he said is, those who prioritize striving towards righteousness. Because none of us are perfect. We haven't arrived there yet. But like real honorable and thorough men who it means something to them to we all get off track, but we want to reel ourselves back as quick as possible because being righteous, being on the right side of things, right-minded, right-hearted, right-spirited means something to us.
Absolutely.
And so I'm going to start to the far left to the right. Matter of fact, hold on, before I do that internally. Let's start the MoneyChurch. It's just going to flow. So we're going to start officially. Everybody get ready, eyebrows down. I ain't got no waves today. If I do-rag, I lost 3 do-rags. I don't know what's going on. Somebody jacking my do-rags. Haters. But let's get going. All right. Hey, peace, family. It's Jay Morrison. I want to welcome you back to another episode of MoneyChurch Live, the spirituality of business, how to live rich in real life. And by rich, we're not talking about just currency or money. We're talking about the earthly blessings, but also the spiritual blessings and having the biggest asset we all can have, which is master peace. As entrepreneurs, as legacy builders, we go through life and life be lifing. And the devil be deviling.
Absolutely.
But we're here to say God be God and know.
Yes.
Right? In real life. So MoneyChurch is an entrepreneur self-development podcast that allows you to get some spiritual food and fuel because an empty cup can pour no more.
Yes.
And as a legacy builder, and as I know as men, we're constantly covering the community, covering our households, covering our family. And you can get exhausted if you don't get an environment to pour back into you. So we are all blessed to have these 2 handsome men sitting next to me right now. So 3 handsome men in a row. You guys are lucky. God is good. And I'm going to start from, I don't know where to start because, all right, we're going to save our elder, the OG, the wise king for last. I'm going to start with my brother, my little brother. He calls me his big brother.
Yes.
But my spiritual twin in many stakes. We have the king, the multifamily master in real estate, the King Julian Gordon in the building. Yes. Rich and righteous. Give it up for the king real quick. Rich and Righteous, right? That's the name of the book, right? Author Rich and Righteous, and leader of the multifamily movement. And King, before I go on to our next host, I want you just to speak on that. The movement, what you told me today about the multifamily, what that means. Is anything on your spirit right now to start us off?
Yeah, so in terms of this particular show, we're talking about multiplicity or multiplying, and it came to me this past year that the multifamily movement is not just about multifamily real estate. It's actually multiple families coming together to create regenerational wealth and move into what I call the asset class. And once you're in the asset class, your assets are multiplying money for you without you trading time for money. And so real estate was the foundation of this family, but ultimately we are going to be creating wealth in many different ways and accessing new asset classes and finding more ways to multiply money so that we can all walk in our God-given purpose on a daily basis. For me, freedom isn't just kicking up my feet on a beach somewhere and doing nothing. It's actually being able to walk in my God-given purpose on a daily basis without worrying about money. And so that is the ultimate goal, and that's what came to me this year. Of course, multifamily movement started in 2019. It was all real estate, but now I'm coming into a new awareness and a larger vision that goes beyond just real estate.
And I told King Jay, same happened to me. Like jay-morrison-academy 2012, 2014 was about real estate. Real estate was my way out. Real estate was how I knew to communicate to our people free and freedom and power and wealth. But then as you go deeper down your wealth journey and your purpose journey, you start seeing the same families I'm helping to get real estate assets, they have real problems.
Yes.
Real spiritual issues. There's more wealth to gain. There's other ways to create cash, other ways to keep cash, grow cash, protect cash, pass it on, right? So it burdens you then as a leader to say, I can't just keep my people down a one singular path when I know there's all this out there and they're depending on me to be a shepherd.
Yes.
I got to lead multiple families to something beyond multifamily.
Correct.
That's good.
That's why I love you, bro. Constantly elevating, evolving, and being obedient to the Most High.
Always.
Love. So King Julian, he won't be here with us for the Black House Homecoming, first annual Black House Homecoming Week 2022, but he is one of the founding members of the Black House and the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Actually one of our largest investors in the fund, taking the most action, but he is also what we call a Black House hero.
Wow.
And so on June 1st, you guys are going to see an unveiling of several Black House heroes right here from the Legacy Center in Atlanta, Georgia, where we're honoring servant leaders, people that are not so much just the goat, but they're the lamb. They're the ones who actually use their expertise not just to benefit themselves, but to genuinely and intentionally go empower the community and get us closer towards our repair. Closer to unity, justice, and repair, whether it be politically, socially, or economically. And so you are flat out a prime example of what a Black House hero looks like in real life, King.
Appreciate that.
We give you that honor tonight, and we look forward to blessing you with the full award and all of its perks on June 1st virtually, although you'll be with your heir.
Yes.
That day.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Awesome. So next to King Julian family, another honorable and thorough man, one of my spiritual mentors, the overseer Brian C. Dean, I call him Bishop Brian C. Dean, who helped mentor, challenge, and nurture me to a closer relationship with the Most High at some of my lowest states. And we talked about how darkness is needed, during our journey. Darkness is needed for seeds to be able to be buried and nurtured. King, I don't even call him King Brian, it's just Bishop to me. So Bishop is now celebrating his 30 years of faithful service of when he left Xerox Company 30 years ago to follow that little whisper in his head and that tugging and burden on his heart to say what God told me in 2012, take care of my people and I'll take care of you.
Yes.
Right? And exactly what you're living is, look, I'm going to go take care of your people. And so 30 years ago, he'll tell you more of his testimony, and I heard it yesterday during his service, and I heard it privately as well. King took his family, wife and children, left a good-paying job at a company. Most of us go to school, get good grades just to get a job, to get a good job, and left those benefits in that job to go into service work for the kingdom work, and now is celebrating this past weekend 30 years of ministry, 30 years of faith, 30 years of obedience.
Wow. Thank you, sir.
And you too, King, I want to let you know tonight on this platform. I hope you're available. First Lady, hope he's available June 1st on Wednesday. But we want to honor you also as a Black House hero.
Wow.
Because quite honestly, and as Queen Jada says a million times, transparently, it's an inside joke, y'all. When you be around Queen Jada, you're going to hear some transparentlys. Transparently speaking, there may not even be a Black House right now had it not be for you and a part of you being obedient to service in your life and mentoring me during a time where I'm like, listen, I mean, you had to talk in my office. Listen, I'm here serving the people. If y'all want to tear down me and my family and give my wife trauma and our baby trauma and our family trauma to repair you, we don't need none of this.
Right.
We can sell all of this and we can start from scratch.
Yeah.
But through your ministering and through God using and speaking to you, you are able to allow those moments of trial and obstacle and adversity to be a time to nurture a better me and allow God to be able to groom and grow me to a better Black House. We have a better product, a better building, a better ecosystem. And so we thank you, and you are certainly a Black House spiritual leader and a Black House hero. We thank you. We honor you. We do that tonight. The overseer Brian C. Dean. Thank you, Ken.
Wow.
And so any words on your spirit and your heart tonight?
Wow. First of all, let me say I'm absolutely humbled, truly humbled by your words, your acclamation of me and my part to play in your life, as well as this vision. To my dear brother Julian, along with your wife, and of course the staff and all those that are a part of this overall enterprise and what God has granted you. I count myself as like Jethro, who when Moses was leading literally over 1 million people in the wilderness, and he was running himself very thin based upon the model he was living by at that time. And Jethro offered him some counsel and granted him some impartation and some help that caused Moses to redesign his leadership model. He incorporated a system which allowed Moses to rest more. So where we're talking about the masterpiece and how God has allowed you to become a better you during that time when you went through a very rocky road, I thank God that whatever we were able to release and help cover you and this wonderful work, that I count myself like a Jethro who could be there during a time when you absolutely needed it. And because of that, the vision goes on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
God knows when and who to put in your life. And mind you guys, Money Church is not a religious podcast, but it's a relationship podcast.
Yes.
It's about your individual relationship with the Creator, the Most High, not your religion. We can argue about that all day. There's different ideologies right now, all man-made, every single one of them.
Right.
Every religion you know was made by man,
Mhm.
but the relationship was made by him.
Talk.
So, listen, I don't subscribe. I might go to church. I might tap in. I'll definitely read the Bible every single night.
Yes.
Last night I was tired as heck, but I still got my verses in. I read the Bible every single night, but I'm not a Christian.
Yes.
I am a Jesusite, though.
Come
I
on,
follow
come
the man
on.
and the example. Listen, whether you believe Christ was a story, a real man, the Son of God, or however you want to put it, you got to admit, Jesus was popping. He still is.
Yes, sir.
The most powerful, most popular man on the planet Earth, with the longest running story in the best-selling book
Come
on
on.
the planet. Yo, there got to be something to that.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like, yo, think about it. I don't care if it's Jay-Z. I don't care if it's Kodak Black. If Kodak Black becomes the most popular man on the planet Earth for 2,000 years, there's obviously something popping about Kodak Black.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If your album becomes the best-selling album of all time,
Yes.
over thousands of years, the bestseller, you
Yes,
got to be
sir.
popping.
Right.
To say Jesus is not popping, shout out to Country Wayne, by the way. To say he's not popping, bro, is a fallacy. Like, yo, stop it.
Yes.
But just say an Instagram model popping. She only got 300,000 followers, fam. How's she more popping than Christ?
Come on. That's true.
Let's think about it, though.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
I follow the man that said, I'm going to serve those least amongst us.
Yes.
I'm going to hang out with the felons, the ones like me.
Come
I'm
on.
going to hang out with the prostitutes.
Absolutely.
I'm going to stop y'all from shunning the prostitutes and what y'all call the thoughts. Nah, she with me.
Come on.
I'm going to love those least amongst us. I'm going to go teach in the streets, young Malcolm.
Yes.
I'm going to go to the street corner and I'm going to go give the message and the gospel in Christ. And so
Come on.
we want to talk about tonight the mindset of multiplicity, as King Dean would say. I didn't even want to try to spell that. I was just like, the multiplier's mindset. I can do that. The
Yes,
multiplier's mindset. And what's amazing is, here we got, usually it's 2 gathered in his name. Now we got 3
Come on.
here
Come on.
gathered in his name.
Yes.
And we're talking about multifamily real estate and its benefits in order to empower us, but multiple families and their benefits to empower us. And I think a simple way of putting it is the power in numbers.
Exactly.
What you can do with numbers. You've ran a crowd fund, buy back Baton Rouge. The power of numbers.
Correct.
You're part of another crowd fund, Total Real Estate Fund. The power of numbers.
Yeah.
What's your take and how do you approach as the multifamily master multiplicity and multiplying from a spiritual aspect?
Yeah, so I'm doing a study on Genesis right now, and And when you read Genesis 1 and 2, we all think of God as a multiplier.
Absolutely.
But when you actually look at Genesis 1 and 2, God doesn't multiply anything in Genesis 1 and 2. Nothing, right?
Yes.
Because God created earth from what? Nothingness. And when you multiply anything by 0,
Come on.
you get nothing. So God is the only entity or being that can create from nothingness. So there was no multiplication there. It was just pure creation. It's not until you get until Genesis 3 where it says, be fruitful and multiply.
Yes.
So we as mankind, not gender specific, mankind, we are the ones that are called to multiply. And you see this fast forward in the parable of the talents, where one servant was given 5 talents, the other one was given 2, and the other one was given 1. What were they commanded to do? They were commanded to multiply. So we are the ones that multiply things, and when we multiply things, we're able to create. This is why you actually need 2 or more. You need 2 things in order to multiply. That's the only way you can multiply.
Yes.
And so somebody saw an iPhone and a taxi and said, I'm going to put that together and I'm going to create Uber. That's multiplication. Somebody saw a peanut butter, they saw a jelly. They said, I'm going to put those 2 things together.
My favorite.
And I'm going to
Yes, sir.
and I'm going to create multiplication from there. So it takes 2 things, but God created from nothingness. So God didn't need to multiply. God just was able to create. It is actually our responsibility as children of God to
Yes.
multiply the resources that we have here on earth.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All them bars. This is why we love land, right?
Come on.
You start with land and you can build structure building.
Yep.
Before you even get structure building with land, you have land, you have trees and agriculture.
Yeah.
From those trees, we then have lumber for
Yeah.
our sticks.
Yeah.
From the mud and the clay, we then build the bricks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then from the leaves, we build our shelter. And then you go into your food, into your oil, into your gas, all that multiplying the earth. But we had to multiply to start from our mind.
Facts.
Yeah,
We had to have the
absolutely.
ingenuity and innovativeness to say, what do I do with this tree?
Yes.
How do I make this leaf paper? How do I make this paper fiat currency and money?
Come on.
How do I create a financial system that tells me the interest rates on this money and payback systems?
Correct.
All that is multiplied from the human being
Yes.
in their minds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bishop, give us
Excellent,
something.
excellent, excellent. You hit on something in Genesis chapter 1. When God did create everything, he created everything with the ability to recreate.
Correct.
So he says literally to the trees, I'm going to make you with the ability to produce fruit so you can continue in the tree making business, if you
Yes.
will.
Even when that fruit dies.
Even when that
the
fruit
seed of that
dies,
fruit
that's it.
produces more fruit.
That's
so
it.
you need the darkness to die to produce more.
That's
So
it.
you must have death and darkness to have multiplicity.
That's
That's
good.
requirement.
That's good. Yes, sir. We see the same law being applied where he created the whales and the mammals of the sea. He said, literally multiply. He said the same thing to the beasts of the field, multiply. He gets to man in verse 28 and he says, be fruitful and multiply. Now that multiplication, we have a tendency to think is just children. But it's so much more than that. As we were speaking, you said this a moment ago, it's multiplying your mindset. It's no different than
Be a God. Be a
literally.
baby God.
Yeah, you're literally like a demigod. So what God is saying is, the same way I do it, I want you to do it, and I want you to do it in a way it's no different than the first person who created McDonald's. At some point, they decided, let's franchise it. The moment we deal with the element of franchisement, we're not dealing with multiplicity. That same element is within us. You were speaking earlier about needing 2. God is so big on connectivity that everything in the earth has a connection point. If we're dealing with iron, iron is usually combined with one or more things, cast iron or stainless steel. You know, we take in H2O, but H2O is made up of hydrogen and oxygen.
Right.
It's the connectivity that we take in. God says it's not good for man to be alone. So there is a principle in connecting and literally causing at least having 2 or more, which gives you the ability to create the multiplicity.
Yes.
So there's a difference in us operating in what we call addition. John Maxwell said it this way. He said, leaders who develop people add, but leaders who develop leaders multiply.
That's amazing.
And that principle is very powerful about why we do what we do. If the truth be told, all of us are really trying to work ourselves out of our business. Because if you can develop enough leaders to do what you have in your mind to get done, it's no different back in the street days, Jay, when you was hustling and the whole nine. You had to get that knowledge from somebody that told you this is how it's done.
Correct.
Then after you got that knowledge, whoever you have running under you, you told them this is how it's done. But it's that mindset which continues to be multiplied, and if we multiply it effectively, if we can write the vision and make it plain,
Facts.
if we can literally make it a clear vision where people up underneath us can hear what we're seeing, that they're literally seeing our vision, ultimately we can go from addition to multiplication.
Right, and in business, we call it the 4 Ps. I teach in a 12-step book. I've been teaching for a decade now. You just talked about it, people.
Yes.
The first P, people, personnel.
Yes.
Then having a process they can follow.
Mm-hmm.
And then protocols that back that
Come on.
process. And then your procedures. When people can buy into that, you now can get into automation, scalability, or multiplicity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you're now doing a cookie-cutter formula. But it's interesting you mentioned that kind of delegation or process, because in Exodus, in that same chapter with Moses, and what was that, the person?
18, Exodus 18th chapter.
Yeah, you said it starts with a J.
Jethro.
Jethro.
Oh, yeah, Jethro.
I
Yes,
didn't know it
sir.
was Jethro because when I read it in Exodus, it said Moses' father-in-law.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
I think it was Jethro.
Yes, mhm.
And basically said, look, you're burning yourself out.
Right.
You're teaching all the people, why don't you have them organize themselves in bodies of 70, it might have
Yes.
been, or whatever it
Yes.
is.
Yeah, actually, he said 1,000. He said bodies 1,000, 100, 50, and 10. So all of those represent
Correct.
systems.
And put a person in charge of each
That's
group.
it. That's it.
Now you're only dealing with the heads of those groups instead of you trying to deal with
Yes.
tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands yourself. So like, it shows how those processes and those people allow you as a legacy builder, and that's what I believe in being an expert at hiring experts. Like, just stay in your lane.
Yeah.
So it allows you to multiply your efforts, right? So we have this saying on the wall, it's my saying, by the way, be the CEO of your last name.
Yeah, I
The
love
leader and visionary for
I
your
love it.
family. And what you're essentially saying is, what came to the same conscience I came to, is that as the CEO of my last name, my only skill set as a CEO can't be real estate.
Right.
We got King Lawrence Eagleston in the building, stock prodigy. His only skill set can't just be stocks to be an effective family CEO.
Yes.
You got to understand the credit game and the LLC
Right,
entrepreneur
right,
game.
right.
And one day your family's going to need to either lease or buy, and should buy, some land, a homestead, some property, an estate. You need that game. But then you have to protect that through tax mitigation strategies. But what
Yes.
about your renter's insurance or homeowner's insurance or your life insurance or your jewelry insurance? You need that game.
Come on.
So as a family CEO, you need all this game, but we may not have it, just like the tree may not have all the elements of what it needs, but there's those sister trees.
Yes.
So yeah, I might be a peach tree, but my brother is an apple tree.
Yes.
And my brother is, right, a banana tree. So
Yes.
knowing your gifts, knowing your network, that's why we have this here at the Black House. We want to invite you all home. To come on home, June 1st through 5th is the Black House Homecoming.
Yes.
Where we're honoring these Black House heroes. What the Black House is meant to be is a convening space. And I want to get into the massacre that happened in Buffalo in 1 second as well over the
Yes.
weekend. And the power of multiplicity, masterminds, and convening space.
Yes.
So like, this is our garden to multiply, the Black House. And so when you have all this fruit around you and different kinds of fruit, and you have a space to be able to nurture the fruit, it allows you to multiply your efforts, because now if I'm feeling bad this day, I got my brother's energy to lean on.
Right, right.
But now if I need some expertise on something, I got my sister and my brother that has expertise on something that I don't have expertise in.
Yes.
And so that garden, if you will, of talents, of tools, of resources, is something that we all need.
Yeah.
Those other expertise that may not have, other skill sets and gifts we may not have, we all need to be able to multiply at a rapid pace.
Yes. Yes.
When I need a creative, a videographer, a graphic designer, an editor, I can tell my wife, post that on Greenlet's page, which is a media company. And now I'm able to multiply even faster my media
Yes.
division, my branding, my marketing, because of those resources. So people are so essential to our multiplicity.
Absolutely.
100%. The first garden that you really have to till to or tend to is actually the garden of the mind. For me, this is where the Garden of Eden truly is. It all starts here. And we are what I call gardeners, right?
Talk that
We are
talk.
gardening our inner, right? And our responsibility is actually not to cause the thing to multiply or to grow, right? A gardener does not know how to make an apple.
Right.
They do not know how to make an apple. A woman does not know how to make a child. The woman does not go into the womb and put the arm on the child.
Yes.
The gardener and the woman's responsibility is to hold space and create the conditions and the environment for that thing, that seed, to naturally unfold and multiply in the way that it was designed to. That is our responsibility.
Yeah.
So as gardeners of our organizations or entities, we have 4 responsibilities. The first is to plant, right? We plant the conscious seed or the vision that this entity and this field that we are controlling is meant to reveal, right?
We're the fiduciary of that field.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. The second thing is that we then have to water it. We have to give it the right nutrients in order for that seed to grow. Then we have to get into weeding. Weeding means actually getting rid of your own negative limiting beliefs and thoughts that are preventing your organization from actually scaling to the place that it can actually serve the most people. And then finally is pruning. This looks like firing people quickly, cutting back, right, in order to create and spur new growth. So as the gardeners of our of our own minds and our organizations, this is our responsibility on a daily basis as CEOs of our own last names.
Absolutely. And I want to
great.
give us something that hit me. One of the hardest things for us to garden and to be a fiduciary of the CEO of our last name and prune and weed is family and those closest to us. A lot of times your ideas, your business, your dreams and visions, hey, Queen Kobe, will get suffocated by those closest to you.
True.
And those are the hardest to prune to create that maximum growth.
Yes.
Yes.
So like King Julie and I are built with all kinds of acronyms and mini lessons. So it reminds me of my 4 E's. Evaluate.
Yeah.
Evaluate your circumstance, your environment. Eliminate the bad people, places, things that don't serve you and your goals for your environment.
Yep.
Evaluate, eliminate, evolve. Evolve to the newer you, grow.
Yes, that's good.
And then execute. Walk out perfecting that new you.
That's great. I love it. And the whole element that I just heard you, both of you all, deal with as it relates to the protocols. You know, you dealt with the 4 protocols to the garden. You dealt with the same with the E's. When we really want to ask the question, how do I go from adding in life, whether it's, adding $100 to my paycheck or, adding a little bit more to my vision this year than the year before. To go from adding into a place of multiplicity or multiplication, there is a system, there's a biblical system for it. The scripture says in 1 Corinthians 14:40, let all things be done decently and in order. So that means God is a God of order. But the reason behind that is this. If we will move into a place of systems, systems bring forth order. Order brings forth multiplicity. I'm going to say that again. When you go from a place of operating in an individualistic mindset or in an additive mindset, just addition, to go from addition into multiplication, you have to move into systems. Systems is the thing that I do remember. I believe Robert Kiyosaki, he said it this way, for those of you that don't know who he is, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he said it this way. Usually all of us, when we start off in life, we start off as an employee. We go from an employee, if you're successful, to the degree where you become a self-employed person. Then from self-employed, you go to the third level, which is business owner. From business owner, then you get to a place called investor. All right, but the difference he said between self-employment and business owner is the ability to incorporate systems. Without systems, you will lack the order, and without the order, you'll never see the multiplication.
Wow.
So when we see how Jethro spoke to Moses and said, do what you do, but change up your order. You're going at it like you're the head of everything. Like when I first started, and I'm sure all of you all can definitely describe what it was like when you first started your entrepreneurial walk. But when I first started as a quote-unquote pastor, CEO of our church in 1994, I was like a one-man system. You know, at that point, it was just me, my wife, my mother-in-law. We started, and I was the deacon. I was the janitor. I was the one that scraped up the old paint on the floor and repainted it and took 3 inches of grease off the wall and renovated it. And I was the one that had to, start the banking process. And as we finally got to a point where we can incorporate deacons and elders and other realms of responsibility, but in the beginning, you become your own one-man system. But we can't stay there. That's the thing about it. We can't stay there. So at a certain point, how do we go from becoming that one-person system like Moses was to where Jethro said, take 70 men and release the oil that's on you, release the vision that's in you, teach them the laws, teach them the rules of quote-unquote the Legacy Center and the Jay-Morrison University and Academy. Teach them the rules. That's what you're doing even with the families. I heard one young lady on a video speak about how you taught her, and as a result of you teaching her, now she's not only able to succeed in looking to retire early, she's able to teach somebody else.
Right.
So what happens when it's no longer just us developing people, but now we're leaders developing leaders, and you're able to see that vision go on to another level?
Well, I always say that each one teach some, not one. Especially for us, we're behind the 8 ball. We can't afford for each one to teach. What if I just taught one person?
Yeah.
I did my job. I'll put them on.
Right.
Each one teach some, planting those seeds,
It's good.
Yeah.
putting them out there. And you got a thought? Go ahead.
The first thought is that Harriet Tubman, she took people in cohorts. And she made 19 trips below the Mason-Dixon line, right, and freed 300 people. If she would only took one person at a time, there would have only been 19 people who she freed.
Wow.
Right? And so we have to get to this idea of each one teach many. And when you think about how Jesus taught, he was teaching 12 people at a time. And then starting with his inner circle and then going into teaching 5,000 and teaching not just through word, right, but through demonstration.
Yeah.
We talk about public demonstrations, marching and stuff like that. Jesus was a public demonstrator.
Thanks.
Public demonstrator. I'm going to demonstrate it in front of you. Teach us how to pray. Here's how you pray. Right? And if you go back to the Old Testament, there is like documentation of how to build this temple. It is laid out there,
Literally,
right?
yes.
Put it in writing and make it plain. And so when we're trying to translate these systems to individuals, we have to make them clear and concise so that anybody can access it and be able to take the blueprint and actually execute on it the way that it was intended to be. So there are systems all throughout the Bible, from Genesis to just almost in every single book, there are systems there, and you just have to look for them. But then you have to ask the question, where are the systems in my life? Do you have a meal plan for your family right now? Are you guessing where food is coming from every single day? Do you have a system for cleaning? Do you have a system for your car wash? Do you have a system for a pickup and drop off? Do you have a system for your money in your household?
right,
Or do you
your
have
bookkeeping.
do you have a system for emergency situations? There are all kinds of systems that are probably absent from not only your business but from your home life, and this is probably why the business isn't thriving at the level that it should be or could be.
That's fantastic.
While the home isn't thriving at the level it could be or should be. Like, do you even have an evacuation plan if a fire broke out in your home?
Correct.
Yeah.
Does your family know where to go? And that's something that I got to even ask. We have our fire extinguishers. We got our stuff set up. But I can't say at the Morrison household that we have a go-to short enough plan if something breaks out. Now, we got a plan if you break in our house. We got a plan for that. We got a few plans in real life. But we need a fire plan. But we got something bigger than Smith. But it's also made me think about two things. One, is one of our lessons is you start off, like you said, all of us working in our business. You start off being a janitor, the accountant, a bookkeeper, the marketer, everything.
Yeah.
Then you work your way from working in your business to working your way out of your business.
Right.
So you can be a true CEO working on your business.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I thought about this weekend at the Black House. So every night, guys, I'm going live. We're going heavy promo for the June 1st through 5th, first annual Black House Homecoming Week. That's going to be the 4-year anniversary of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. We got 5 days of events for the community, for your families. Our opening night reception, our honoring our Black House heroes, our TREF State of the Union, all the way to our Black House barbecue on Saturday, open to the community, free food, to Greenlit ATL with Queen Ernestine and the whole ATL media community, and our all-black kickback and business mixer on Friday, and worship on Sunday.
Awesome.
Right? Although we should be worshiping on Sabbath, but I'm not going to talk about it right now. So, nevertheless. So, but in that, I did a call to action because in the rest of our development here, we're bringing in some black artwork. We're bringing in sculptures to our lawn. We're bringing in black artwork in our gallery in the back and in our upstairs. We have 5,000 square feet. We're putting up artwork, all black art, right? So the Black House will be a black art gallery.
Wow.
Right, come June 1st.
Wow.
So I did just 2 posts. Hey, looking for all my artists. Yo, all my artists come out to the Black House. I'll drop your art. DM me. Hundreds of messages and DMs from people tagging or applying from artists.
Hallelujah.
And we have some amazing talent in our community. I mean, I see some artwork that I literally am in the car with myself like, wow. I'm like talking to myself in the car, like I'm catching myself. Like it's some amazing, inspirational, deep. I'm like, it's hitting me in my chest.
Wow.
Like artwork in our community, but talking about multiplying.
Yes.
Putting out a bat signal, a seed, saying, looking for all black artists, DM me to have your artwork displayed at the Black House Gallery.
Wow.
2 days.
Come on.
We're going to do the same thing for our self-defense. It's part of our plan. I'm going to have a call to action one day. You'll see it soon in the coming weeks. Anyone in the martial arts, anyone in the handgun training, anyone in security planning, we're going to have a self-defense ministry here at the Black House.
Love
and
it.
y'all going to meet bi-weekly. And I'm not going to do it. That's not my expertise.
right.
But you'll be the self-defense minister.
Right.
You'll be the art and
Love
culture
it.
minister.
Come on.
And allowing people to do what they do best. But here at the Black House, begin to build what we call our own government. Self-governing.
I love it.
The white supremacists we see, the European supremacists. All white supremacy means is European descendants that feel like they are more dominant than every other race or ethnicity.
And the title.
And right. So, when you think about the system of white supremacy, the system of white supremacy is so systemized, so automated, so scaled that they don't even have to meet or greet or publicize, but every here and there, a massacre or mass shooter or actor will come out of it based on the ideologies and principles and systems of white supremacy. They've multiplied their ideology so much that they don't even have to even be in charge and in control anymore
Right.
for what they intended to do to still happen generations later.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
And the only way to combat a system and fight a system is with what?
Yeah,
Systems.
exactly.
What we're lacking is systems and order to then multiply our efforts for freedom and liberation in our repair.
100%. I mean, for a long time, when I started getting involved as an activist in college, we would call it organizing. But when you look at our community, we're the most disorganized people.
Yes.
We're literally not doing what the word actually says. We have no systems whatsoever. I know you put out the call today, like in Buffalo, what if it was 100 black families? What if it was 1,000? What if it was 10,000? How would we respond?
Any different?
We have no organization whatsoever to respond to anything on that level, and so this is an example that we are disjointed, and when a house is divided, we're talking about multiplication, so let's talk about division.
Yes, come on.
When a house is
yes,
divided,
Professor.
it cannot stand, and we've been divided for a long time. Part of it is because of the diaspora, because we are so diverse, because we come from so many different places, because there's not just one unifying culture that we all agree on. There is no binding religion like the Jews may have, and so we are in an interesting situation because we are really the firstborn. We come from all over the earth. We were here on North America before there were any slave ships, so because our experiences are so diverse, it's hard to unify and come together around one vision. And so there is division within us. But we need to move that from the word division as me against you to it's just diversity. And that even in the midst of diversity, we can still unify around a common vision that we all agree on.
It's the common denominator.
Yes.
Talk about math.
Yes.
It's the common denominator is what we're missing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can say, hey, black people unite. And they say, we're not black. Well, African people, we're not African. Well, we're not indigenous. Well, Moors, well, we're Israel. Well, goddamn, we can't even, you know what? But when they shoot your cousin, you want me out there, though.
Yeah, right.
Regardless of what, right, baby, exactly. They want me out there. Right, risking my life for freedom. So we got that common denominator is all part of the organizing efforts.
Yes.
Because we talked about it in one of our MoneyChurch before. Because when you start to have a split vision, right? So the common denominator allows us to coalesce and agree and synergize around a vision.
Right.
But when there's a split vision or a division,
Correct.
we now have a subdivision. We know that in real estate.
Yep.
Which now leads to a lack of provision.
Yes.
So what we're talking about is how do we bring those things together around common vision and a common denominator. So now that we have multiplication, that's right, baby, tell them. Or rather, multiplication around a common vision. That's exactly what, but now how do you do that? How do you get people from all these walks and ideologies to all come together? It's not going to happen off building on Zoom.
Yes.
It's not going to happen off building on lives. You need physical space for you to be able to meet, to nurture, to argue, to fight, to do whatever you have to do to come up with your common denominator.
Yes.
Right? That has to be our first priority. And so that's what these grounds, this campus, and the Black House Homecoming is all about, is saying, come on home.
That's
If
good.
you believe in this common ideology of unity, justice, repair, really what the ideology is a dual accountability, is a solution to me. It's an accountability of governments and corporations that owe us for our genocide, for our oppression, for our human rights violations, for what Malcolm X called our political oppression, economic exploitation, and social degradation. They owe us.
Yes.
Redress, reparation, you want to call it, they owe us. But we also owe ourselves
Yes, sir.
to give ourselves our best effort in those same things. So it's a dual accountability. If black, or maybe Hebrew, or maybe indigenous, or maybe African, or maybe Pan-African, or maybe Moor, or maybe Nation of Islam, or maybe whatever we are, that people can come together around a common denominationality that we are like-kind people of a like circumstance of oppression.
Yeah.
Make our oppression our commonality.
Yeah.
Right? Make our
Yes, sir.
melanin our commonality. Make our original man descent our commonality.
Yes.
And through that commonality, if we can say, folks owe us, and guess what? We owe ourselves.
Right.
And so let's run a two-man track, a two-man or woman race towards their accountability and our accountability to heal, advance, and grow us. If you believe in that kind of talk, that lingo,
Yes.
come on home to the Black House, because we're building it here.
Come on.
We're going to get them and what they owe us. We're going to have our political division. We're going to have our self-defense division. We fenced in, we protected.
Yes.
We got our tight security here. We got all that. But then we're also going to learn how in our community garden to feed ourselves.
That's good.
We're also going to learn how to educate ourselves. We're also going to learn spiritually how to nurture ourselves, how to repair ourselves.
Yes.
So like that commonality piece, I think is one of the anchors, even in a business. You got to give your staff, your community, a vision.
Right.
And they all buy into the common denominator, the vision of the CEO.
Yes.
The community has lacked a visionary. And where there's a lack of vision,
Come on. People will perish.
the people perish.
Yes, sir.
There has not been a specific vision for our community and direction of here's where we go, here's the 100-year plan, the 400-year plan, here's where we go.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're perishing for it.
The biggest thing that I see in terms of our community is ego, and part of it has been that we've seen models. We are a community, and you look at this in the Old Testament, they were always looking for a king. They were always looking for a king, right, and for a savior,
Messiah.
and a Messiah. And so we are always searching for the one, and instead of recognizing that we are the one. And so it's really important for us to get off of that. When we think about the founding of this country, even though it was founded on our backs, they came together at conferences to create the Declaration of Independence. It was multiple white men in a room creating a collective vision for the country that we now live in. So there's a demonstration that it wasn't a single individual there that aggregated this vision to create what we are now experiencing. There were people who were willing to have critical conversations to disagree until they agreed.
Wow.
They
Wow.
agreed to disagree until they
Powerful
agreed.
word. Powerful word.
And we have not been able to get into one shared room and actually disagree until we agree on that common denominator so that we can move forward. The demonstration, we're living out the demonstration of men, and in our case, the way our community works, it will be women at the table too, coming together to create that vision without it being a particular individual or ego to lead the conversation. There can be somebody who initiates the conversation, but that does not make
You're
them
not
the leader.
though.
Yes.
That's what I said. I said, I don't want to be the leader of the movement,
Right.
but I'll be the galvanizer, the organizer, the spark, somebody got to organize the organizers.
Yes.
And mobilize the mobilizers. Don't make them the leader. They're just the ones, somebody has to drive, and some bodies.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
too, and you
Yes.
too, and
Yes.
all of us.
Yes.
Right? Have to drive. But I was telling my sister, Tamika Mallory of Until Freedom, one of the largest civil rights organizations and human rights organizations in the country. And we were talking about some kind of boycott in response to, the massacre just happened and different things or ways to take action. And boycotts and demonstrations and protests on the ground. We all say, I don't want to protest anymore. Let me tell you about the protests. I learned this from Sister Crystal Muhammad, my other sister, political activist, who was a national chairwoman of the new Black Panther Party. And what she said is that the demonstrations on the ground, the protests on the ground, they aren't about just the protest. They're actually about the like minds coming to the front line, and that's where we meet to organize to what we do next.
Wow.
You use the battlefield in the front line, not just to say, oh, Black Lives Matter and we out, but to say, oh, you about that life, King? Oh, you out here about that life?
Right.
Oh, well, I'm really about that life. Can we meet on Wednesday? That's your meeting grounds for the warrior spirits.
Yeah, that's
right?
good.
At the front line. That's one. But I was talking to Tamika and Queen Tamika, and I was like, look, I'm doing it. I've been talking about it since 2015. The same vision. I didn't have the same influence I had then, or
Right.
same voice, or same relationships back then that I have now, or the same space. I said, we talked about getting 50, it could be 30, you can start with 10. Bout it leaders of our community in a room, and we gonna argue and fight and do everything. That's what I told her. So we gonna argue, fight, get all that out the way, which will be behind closed doors, and we gonna leave out with some commonality.
Yes.
I mean, I've literally heard people I respect, like one person I love and another person I love, who are powerful in our movement, say, I don't rock with them. And they got a whole little, another word with an F in it. I don't rock with them. I don't care if they was burning alive, I wouldn't piss on them. Because of ideology, not because someone did something, because of ideology differences, or because someone trolled somebody online a little bit or whatever, right? We need to have those discussions. I don't like you, bro. I don't like what you did 2 years ago on your podcast. We need to get all of that out in a private space and get to, but they killed our people, though.
Yes.
What you said about me online ain't as big as I'm killing our people, though.
Exactly.
And so we need to get over that. Like you need to repent. We need to something. Let's squash that, clear that, whatever.
Come on.
But can we get to the killing our people, though?
Yes.
Because to the point that you reiterated, I said, they literally could kill 1,000, even 10,000 of our people, and we won't do nothing about it but burn our own buildings. We're not even prepared to do nothing in response to them killing 10,000. They kill 10,000 black children tomorrow, and there's nothing we can do. No, not that we can do. There's nothing that we are prepared to do. If any country or any supremacist murdered 10,000 innocent black little boys and girls, we are not prepared to do anything about it, and that's a shame.
Yes.
And that's on our watch and our generation with all this communication, Zoom, Trello, Asana, Basecamp, Infusionsoft, Keep, MailChimp, all this technology, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all this, and we can't organize ourselves enough to figure this out, but Marcus Garvey could bring 20,000 of us to Madison Square Garden in 1921 with no social media.
My God.
We failing, family. We'll be out here in Lambos and Bentleys, little boy flexing like we doing something. But ain't got no government, though. Little boy flexing. I'm glad everybody's conferences are selling out. Great, we're going to do one too. But I guarantee you, along with everything you see us do in our aspirational life, you're going to see real work and intentionality towards they killing our people, though. And I'm not going to be a 41-year-old black man, African man in America, Pan-African man, Moor man, Hebrew man, Israelite man, NOI man, whatever you want to call me, man, but you know what it is. I'm not going to be that on my watch with health and capacity and watch them kill my people, and I did nothing in order or systems or governing to do anything about it. That'll make me a lame-ass man, and I'm not one.
Yes, that's real. That's real deal. You said something earlier when you said we got to get to a place where we can disagree until we agree.
Yes.
That's a very,
That was so
very
strong.
powerful concept. And, it reminds me of a very powerful verse in the book of Deuteronomy where God was speaking to his people, and he was trying to equip them and prepare them to go up against their enemies. And he said, if I be with you, if I'm the one backing you, he said, one of you can put 1,000 enemies to flight. One of you. If I'm with you, you can cause 1,000 opponents, 1,000 adversaries to take flight. He said, however, if two of you come together, he said, I will cause you to put forth 10,000. Now, how do you go from one being able to put 1,000 to flight to two being able to put 10,000 to flight? It's multiplied.
Yes.
Yeah, 10 times, 10x that day.
Come on. So it's no longer addition. And what God is saying to us is even when we're dealing with opposition,
Yeah.
even when you're dealing with whether it's financial, political, civil, a spiritual opposition, it's going to take us to come together in order to have the multiplied effect, even against the kingdoms of darkness, whatever they are. And so this is very, very important. One can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000, three, 100,000, four, 1,000,000. So he's literally letting us see, I'll multiply your efforts when you come together.
That's a fact.
Yes.
It's the easiest play.
It really is.
Yeah.
Like 5 of us could come together and literally start the movement, and it'll be 10 next week.
Yeah.
And then that 10 will be 100.
Yes, sir.
Like we literally start, it's just somebody got to start.
Yes, yes. And I like the fact that you said you don't have to agree on everything, but agree on one thing. Whatever that one thing is, agree on that one thing. I learned in psychology years ago that there's different ways to unite. And one of the ways you can unite a people is if they find at least one issue in which is an enemy to them both. They will unite long enough to defeat the enemy, and after the enemy is done, then we can go back to being divided over the issues we don't necessarily like.
Yeah.
But right now, it is this one issue that should drive us, unite us, and right now, obviously, you've got a burden on your heart. You've got one in yours, I've got one in mine, and us coming together even on this platform is definitely echoing a volume that there's unity among us and between us all coming together, whether it's virtually, physically, here at the Black House, different times we come together on a personal, social, or even this platform. It lets us know we are not all divided.
Yes.
It reminds you.
It does.
Yeah.
It reminds you. And that being said, it makes me think of a woman in the Bible who, in a time of drought, the scripture says it was a drought all around Israel, and there was nothing left in her house but a little bit of oil. She was about to die. Her children were going to be taken away. And God speaks to her and says, this is what I want you to do. Go to every neighbor you have and get as many pots from every neighbor you can find, no matter what those neighbors are. Since it's a drought, ain't nobody using pots no way because ain't no food. Go ahead and get as many pots as you can, and I'm going to show you something. She said, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to get these pots, go into a room, close the door, and when you begin to pour out the little bit you have, just the little bit you have, please keep this in mind. This is a powerful thought to keep in mind. If God is giving you a lot and you end up producing a little, it's demonic. If God is giving you a lot and you still produce a lot, it's scientific. But if God gives you a little and you still produce a lot, it's supernatural.
It's a bar.
And right now, what we're working with is a little bit of oil, but God said, go and get all the pots you can.
Yes.
Because when you start pouring out the little that you have, I'm going to show up in a multiplied fashion. I'm going to cause that little bit to turn into volume, and literally we see if we can gather together those who would have a common cause. A little bit of oil can go a long ways when the supernatural is in it.
That is a fact. That's a fact. Those are bars, man. We
Yes.
live in that. We're all living proof.
Yeah.
We watch it every day. So, family, as we I want to give my kings here an opportunity to let you know, one, where to check in with them, and if you got any final words or thoughts on this, on you as we come to an adjournment. But King Julian, I want to start with you. One, obviously where everyone can find you. We got some amazing things we're working on together, as always. But and just any final thought that's on your spirit to share with the room tonight.
Yeah, so you can find me at Julian Gordon on Instagram, Jullien Gordon, Gordon. Again, that's 2 L's, IEN. You can also connect with me to learn about how to acquire your first multifamily home and achieve rent and mortgage freedom at rentfree.com. That's rentfree.com. I will show you how to get rid of your housing expense for the rest of your life by acquiring your first multifamily home. For those of you who are entrepreneurs, or even if you're not an entrepreneur, actually, we are all already entrepreneurs. We're all living in what I call the entrepreneur reality. It's the entrepreneur reality. An employee is an entrepreneur who has one big client, and that big client is your job. If you were to lose that one big client, you're going to be in trouble economically, okay? So we are living in what I call the entrepreneur reality. And so you need to see yourself as not only a maker of money, but also an investor of money. What many people have done is they've been good at making money and trading time for money through active income, but then once they get it, they actually don't know what to do with that money. And so now they are left with what we call dead presidents in our community, right? And those presidents are dead. But your responsibility is actually to resurrect those dead presidents and actually give them life and give them tasks to do, right? You're supposed to channel this substance called money, which is just stored energy. Your responsibility is to channel it towards ideals, ideas, individuals, institutions, and investments that you believe are doing good or God's work. And that is up to you to do. They will not get up on their own. And so when you think about money, money is here as a tool for us to use. When we think about it in a biblical context, and for those who think that money is ungodly, first and foremost, Jesus said, I am come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. It says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. One of the first things that God calls good is gold, right? And so it is not the love of money that is the root of all evil. It's also the lack of money that is the root of all evil.
Come on.
If we look at Jay's experience, it was the lack of money that caused him to have to go to the streets, not the love of money. Both can catch you up if you're not careful.
That's serious.
We are never meant to work for money. Money is meant to work for us, and it is an energy. It is a stored energy that we get to use, and we have to reestablish our relationship to it. We have to stand in our power over it and then use it as a tool and a resource, again, to do good and to do God's work here on this earth. Our responsibility is to bring heaven, which is our mental experience of life, onto earth, which is our material experience of life, and money is a tool that we get to use to manifest that every single day. So guess what? If you know that you would do more good with more money, then I want you to have more money in your life.
Come on.
Because right now, the people who are not doing good on this earth have more money than us. And so we actually need to learn how to master this idea and this energy source and make sure that it is always in flow. Money is called currency because it's supposed to have a current. It's supposed to be in motion. You've been taught that the key to success is accumulating money. No, the key to success is actually circulating money. You're supposed to be circulating money. And once we learn how to circulate money at that level, we will experience the abundance that we are meant to have here on earth as children of God.
My God.
That's powerful bars. There's all kind of IG clips, TikTok clips, all of that. But no, I love that. That's what we say here, right? We say the spirituality of business, how to live rich in real life. And we say rich, meaning currency, meaning frequency, meaning vibrations.
Yeah.
Right? Rich is money, currency, frequency, vibrations.
Yeah.
And it's how we let that flow. And what I've learned, it's the weirdest thing in the world, y'all, that how actually giving more money actually brings you more money. It sounds fake, but I swear I can attest to it. It works.
True. Yeah. It's true.
Actually, but it shouldn't sound fake, right? Because sowing more seed should bring you more fruit.
Come on.
100%.
It's true.
It's a universal law.
It is.
Doing more good is from reciprocity, is gonna give you more good. It's guaranteed.
So true.
And the reason it's such an issue is because, Jesus, out of the 39 parables, 11 are about money.
Wow.
So he talked about money more than he talked about heaven and hell.
Yes, he did.
And so
Yes,
he knew that this substance could actually manipulate a soul. And so it was so important to have this conversation, and you can see how it's still affecting us today because many people's relationship to money is one that is negative.
Right, facts. And they
So
care
true.
about it and love it too much. So, family, what I want to do, I'm going to ask King, I'm going to ask King Brian Bishop.
Bishop.
I'm going to ask Bishop to bless with some words, but I want to do something. So, Bishop has helped me. I told you all at some real trying times in spiritual mentorship. But the biggest spiritual mentorship he really gave me was unlocking my blessings through tithing. Which I was like, yo, I'm not like, I don't know about the tithing. Like, I'll give this to charity, I'll give this to somebody else. Like, I ain't giving it to no pastor. Like, I don't know what y'all gonna do with it, right? I'm on that type of energy. And what I found is what someone does with your blessing you're giving is not your responsibility. It's your service to God and your obedience that's your responsibility.
Yes, sir.
And the rest of that is on them. So you do your part.
It's true.
But it took a minute for me to get to a point of getting past my own in myself way to get to a point of me tithing 10% of my income. And I'll tithe directly to Bishop and his ministry. Sometimes I'll tithe to New Birth Missionary Baptist Church. And this is on top of my other giving and offerings to those who are in prison and all that kind of stuff, work and other things that I do. But what I found, though, is that me giving me giving 4 and 5 figure checks in offering and tithe have brought me back 6 and 7 figure checks.
Wow, come on.
In real life. And it took a minute for me to get past. It's this, I'm keeping it real with y'all, right?
Yes.
So full transparency. I had to get past the what's it called? It's secular, if you will, or worldly, or just like whatever that is in my own way, as best way I could put it, thing of thinking about, although this man sacrificed hours of his time to mentor me personally, like Bible studies with my mom, my wife, our family, like hours, didn't ask for nothing. Just free Wednesday Bible study. We're going to go through this word. We're going to dive in, teach about the posture of kings, and basically allowed and help the word help build me back up in a place where I was not knowing which direction I was going. And so outside of that morale boost and spiritual boost and all those different things, he also taught me and really petitioned me. And I'm literally at first like, man, he's saying that. It sounds good. He trying to get a check from me right now. Like, I'm not slow, bro. I'm from 3rd and Center Street. Like, I done made to Newark, New Jersey, Rikers Island, C-74, my 3 upper. Like, bro, you're not. I done dealt with all kind of crackheads, dope heads. It was in my family, too. Like, yo, I sold drugs to my aunts and uncles. Like, bro, you're not going to get me with this preacher game right now. So I was really distant. Like, all right, is he giving me this for the betterment of me? Or is he giving me this because this is play?
Yeah.
Like, is that the preacher play?
Yeah.
Like, yo, I'm going to help you with your life. And then it's like, yo, but like, fam, like, right? Which wouldn't even be a bad ask because it's reciprocation. I'm giving time to, bro, I pay all my consultants get paid.
Yeah.
My accountants get paid. My attorneys get paid. Yo, I got attorneys that get $1,000, $1,500 an hour in real life. So I was thinking about it like, yo, how can you be so obnoxious and so whatever, I can't think of my words right now, to this man that's just pouring into you, even if it was for a fee. We paid marriage counselors $300 an hour.
Yes.
You feel me? Like, yo, bro, I pay my personal trainer and I don't even go there. Yo, I'm in a whole LA Fitness and like, and I ain't been there. I got like 70-something sessions stacked up. Facts. So why is it we're okay with paying everybody else, but not paying, quote unquote, God, but take God out of it for a second, Paul's God, pardon me. But why are we so uptight about paying the man or woman of God that's mentoring in our life, and we know we feel better after, and we perform better after, but we don't want no money to flow to them. Like, you should be all right, God should take care of you, but not through me.
Wow.
But it's okay for you to pour into my life, but let me not pour into yours. But you know what, marriage counselor who might be atheist, I'll pour into your life.
Wow.
You know what, accountant who might be this, I'll pour into your life. Oh, you know what? We pour into everybody else's life, but got problems paying the spiritual part because we're so traumatized by the black church.
Talk.
Right? And that experience.
You're right.
And I've been traumatized by it, right?
Yeah.
So, I won't even go there, but I've been traumatized by it, which is why I'm not a Christian. I'm a Jesusite.
Yes.
But this man has poured into my life, and so my Cash App is broke right now because I changed phones. So I'm getting my cash app reactivated, and I'm paying my tithes from my 15th, as I always do. But also, as I give him the floor, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do, and it veggie backs on what King Julian just said, but I'm going to ask you to give everyone the ways in your ministry they can support you, because you've also donated. This has been over 30, maybe even over 40 money churches.
Wow.
This man drives here about, 40 minutes to an hour?
About an hour.
He drives here an hour every Monday, drives home an hour every Monday, his queen with him, first lady, to spend an hour with us. So 3 hours out of his day every Monday for 40 Mondays. Over 120 hours of service for the free ski with no upsell. Not join my funnel, not get my ebook, not buy my course. With no offering, with no nothing, just, I want to just minister. Kingdom work. So for the first time on Money Church, really ever, I'm going to ask all those been empowered by this tonight or been empowered by any of the 40 sessions that we've done to, Bishop's going to give us his Cash App, his Zelle, his ministry link, and all that. I didn't tell him this. He ain't asked me this. Ain't no plays. Yes. The play is, if this benefited your life, give back to that man's life. That's the play. If you got any value from any of these 40 sessions that have made your life a little better, give him a dub. $200, $2,000, $13, whatever. Bro, you'll give $5 to the man on the corner who ain't did nothing for you. You'll buy water from the water boys, they pants sack and the flip-flops on, and the water ain't even cold. This man got 120 hours in on Money Church and 30 years of ministry and faith. So I'm asking my audience, I get nothing out of this. There's no affiliate deals, no kickback. We're talking about true, spiritual, righteous man, thorough man, just principles. Reciprocation principles. Sow a seed. I promise you, you sow a generous seed, you can expect a generous harvest. It's just how it works. And I can say from all things that I've witnessed with my own 2 eyes, and what you all had 40 hours of experience to witness here, this man speaks, walks, and talks righteously as a man of God and does kingdom work. So I'm going to alley-oop to him to leave, to first start off with how everyone can support you and your ministry. And I want to ask everybody, if you've made money and you don't tithe, give 10% of your earnings and see what God do. Not because you gave it to him, because you gave it to God in kingdom work. Wow. Whatever you earn, you got 300,000 back this week, give up 30. It's going to hurt. But guess what? You don't get the same thing to a business coach. Or you made $300 this week, give up your $30. My point is either tithe or just give a blessing, a love offering to the King. Bishop, go ahead. Please give everyone your ministry support links.
God bless you, man of God. The first would be my Cash App, would be $ABC Dean. That's $ABC Dean, DEAN.
That's what I use, y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's what I use. I use the Cash App. It's easy for me. But go ahead.
Amen. God bless you. You can also go to my church website, which is Kingdom Nations with an S, kingdomnations.com. And through there you have PayPal. You can also give. You can also give to my Zelle, which is literally my
email.
Email.
Yahoo.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
I heard it yesterday at church.
You got it.
I heard it yesterday at church.
Yes, sir. You're on time. kingdomnations@yahoo.com. And you can also give there by way of Zelle. And so that being said, let me first say how considerate of you, man of God, how compassionate of you to speak the way you have on my behalf. I am so humbled and I'm so thankful and grateful to be a part of this podcast, and let alone to be a recipient of your generosity, a recipient of your consideration even on tonight. And for those of you who King Jay has spoken to, if you've ever heard anything from this podcast, I'm grateful if it was a boost to you. I'm grateful if it was a help to you. And so I'm thankful for that. And anything that you do, as he said earlier, is unto God. And so I'm very, very grateful, very, very thankful. And we appreciate, again, all of you. That being said, if you want to locate us by way of, again, our information, you can go to Kingdom Nations Church Atlanta on Facebook, Kingdom Nations Church Atlanta on Facebook to find us. You can also go, again, to our website, kingdomnations.com for our regular website, and you can find us there as well. And we would love to serve you in any way, form, or capacity we can. As it pertains to this powerful lesson tonight on the multiplied mindset, I want to say this. So much jewels came forth from King Jay, my brother Julian. God bless you. So much jewels. Let me give this to you as a very easy, simple, simplistic formula that everyone can take at hand tonight and remember it. There was a 5,000 men crowd who was before Jesus, not including women and children. They were out in the wilderness, and they had no food, and they had no money to supply the food. At that time, Jesus said, "Who has what?" They said, "There's a little boy that has 2 fish and 5 loaves. We have no idea how that's going to make a difference, but this is what he has." Jesus takes the 2 fish and 5 loaves. Now, all of us can identify with not having enough for the expenses of your life, the bills of your life, the quote-unquote college loans you still have. We can all attest to the fact of not having enough. But this is the formula Jesus did. He took the 2 fish and the 5 loaves, and the Bible said he first blessed it. So before you complain about anything, this check is not enough. You know, my books didn't show forth enough. Before you complain about anything, the first thing he did was he blessed it.
Bless what you do have.
He blessed what he did have. After he blessed it, the scripture said he gave thanks for it. Now, that seems like the same thing, but it really isn't. Blessing is when you rejoice. Giving thanks is when you show appreciation to God for the things he's done. So if you've got, quote unquote, a working brain, you've got a respiratory system that works, you have, hands, and you have a business or whatever it is, thank God for the things he's giving you, even by way of income. Go from blessing to thanking. After thanking, he did something very powerful. The scripture says he began to break the loaves. He broke the fish. With his hands, he broke it, which means multiplication stepped in. Because when he began to break it up, you might be surprised to find out if you'll first bless God financially, as King Jay said, even with your covenant, your tithe, your offering. Bless him first. Then after blessing him, thank him. After thanking him, break it. When you start breaking what you have left, God shows up multiplied ways and gives you the ability where you thought you had to have the electric bill due today for $300. But when you have broke it up properly and you honor God first, they give you an extension. So where you thought you had to have it today, now there's an extension. Or something shows up out of the blue and you get a cash app. And now you have the 300. But the reality is, once you start breaking it up, you amortize it, you segment it. I'm going to pay this bill over here, a little bit over there. I'm going to put a little bit down payment here. I'm going to do this. When you break it up, all of a sudden, something happens. Jesus said, take the people who are in front of me and set them in groups of 50 and 100. Systems. Just the first thing he said. Put them in sets of 50 and 100, and then take these 2 fish and 5 loaves and start serving the systems. When they did that, the Bible said everybody ate to the full, and after they ate, more crumbs to the bread and more meat to the fish fell in the ground, and he sent his disciples out to gather what was left, and there was 12 baskets of overflow after everybody ate because of the power of multiplicity.
Power of multiplicity. Bars.
Yes,
So listen,
yes,
fam, You guys just got another episode of Money Church live right here at the Black House. We have a live audience right here. Could you all make some noise right there in the audience? You know what I'm saying? Make some noise. Yeah. We in chair. Yeah. Right at the Black House, and we'll keep expanding our live audience. We want to invite you out every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern to come attend live. Totally free event. It's literally Money Church. Right, so come in, get the spirituality of business. We'll have more guests on, like our great brother, King Julian Gordon. Make sure you follow him. Make sure you guys support the Bishop, Brian C. Dean, man. Again, so try that sow and seed piece. I found that when I'm lacking peace or I'm antsy or have angst, I do something good for somebody else and I instantly feel better.
Yes, sir.
That's my secret sauce.
Yeah.
I just bless somebody else and I feel blessed. I'm like, okay, I got it off me. Right? So sometimes try the giving method versus the taking method. You think something's wrong with you, you're not feeling so good, so I need more. No, you need to give more.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? So I want to give you all that game, support our brother. And guys, we'll be back. I want to invite you all again to the Black House, the first annual Black House Homecoming Week, June 1st through 5th.
Yeah.
Pull up to 3015 R. Martin Street, Atlanta, Georgia. RSVPlegacy.com. That's RSVPlegacy.com for all 5 days of events. Come to the Black House Barbecue. Come grill with us. We got the vegetarian and vegan options too. We got you. Community garden on the way, and so many more activations, man. Thank you all again for joining, being faithful, listening. Hope you got some value and power out of this. And with that, we will see you on our next one. Like, subscribe, and share Money Church
Peace.
in real life. Peace.
Peace, peace,
Bless
peace.
you.